cards. I got my good friend Orlando here from a collector's dream. Welcome to the channel, Orlando.
Thank you, Theo. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, my wife, when I told her I was talking to a guy who was retired, he lives in Florida, and his name was Orlando. She didn't believe me. So now she can see
Yeah,
that you're real.
yeah, yeah. No, I know. Mangini said something one time. Here's a guy from Miami, and his name is Orlando. Because of Orlando, Florida, also. So
That's funny.
I get
I,
that all the time.
I,
I just tell people that they named the city of Orlando after me, and that's that.
yeah, that's funny. You know what? I am jealous though. You have way too much hair. I wish I had more hair. I don't know. How'd you get this great hair?
Hereditary, my friend. My dad had a full head of hair, thank God. So
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
lucky.
losing
Just
mine.
lucky, I guess.
Um, I meant that before we get started here, because I'm gonna be thinking about the whole time. There's a Panthers jersey behind you. When I was growing up in the '90s, the Panthers had an amazing hockey team, and they actually won the cup, and everybody would throw the rats on the ice. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so it was what year is that jersey from? Who also like what team signed it?
That's the whole Panthers team.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact year, but it's from the one of the first years they started. I worked for like a newspaper, and we sponsored them, and they sponsored us. So the name of our paper was on one of the boards on the ice, and I was marketing guy, so I was in charge of dealing directly with the Panthers at that
Wow,
time.
that's
And
cool.
I actually live 10 minutes from the stadium
Oh,
because yeah, I'm right off of I-75 where the stadium is, and I'm very close to there. So I went to a lot of the games in the first year and a few years, and I go to a game pretty much every year. I don't go to a lot of the games, but I do go to games. But anyway, this Panthers,
yeah.
I met with one of their head guys over there with their vice president. I met the owners and everything one time, and then
Okay.
when the season was over, they presented my company with two signed jerseys, and then I kept one for me, and the other one is displayed in the office
Okay.
over there. So I was lucky enough to get an autograph Panthers jersey
That
from
is
one of their years. I don't remember the year
yeah.
exactly, and I don't even remember all the players. I got to go take a good look at it again, but it's
That's
from
that's
one of the first years that they played. They started.
that's a cool piece. That is, I
Thank
like
you.
that a lot. Yeah. So the original point of this behind the cards was to get small channels and to get new channels. You did fall under both until you hit 1,000 subscribers. So you are a new channel though. But
Yeah.
congratulations on 1,000 subs. That's amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Theo. That's to me, it's just incredible. I can't even believe it. I started the channel this year,
Yeah.
and now my daughter even made
That's
T-shirts and everything. So it's just incredible. The YouTube family has just been so receptive to me, and there was a time though that when I first started, I was about 3 to 4 months into it, and I
hmm
had 30 subscribers.
yeah.
And Vince, New York Yanks fan 7,
hmm
saw my one of the videos I did on my mantle collection, and he did a video on my channel about my channel,
Wow.
and that really helped me so much because I got a lot of those guys, Silver Jacket Fi and Blue Jacket 66 Dave and all those vintage guys and Don's Field of Dreams. I could keep naming them on. A lot of those started subscribing to my channel. And
Yeah.
then, it just, by the time I got to the national, I had about 250 subscribers. And, not even 6 months into it. And then from then on, I started doing just, you know,
That's
networking, showing and talking to everybody, and just
uh,
became friends. And the community just supported me so much. And that's one of the things that I just got to thank all my subscribers. I have subscribers that still, comment on my videos from when I had, when they were one of my first 30, 40, 50 subscribers.
Yep.
And I try to stay in touch. And I do a lot of card shows, and I go to all the card shops. I've been to all the card shops in the area and in these two counties around here. And it's great because now, I'm meeting up with a lot of my subscribers at the card shows. I
No,
tell them that I'm going to be at so and so card show. And the last one, a few weeks ago, I met up with two of my subscribers there. And it's just great listening to their stories. And one of them is going to start a channel, just like when you started, Theo. You
yeah,
remember? I
yeah,
think when I first saw your channel, you had 36 subscribers, I think.
yeah.
And I said, you know what? He's got a great channel, and I'm a Clemente fan too. And I said, I gotta promote this guy. And I think I put a post up or
You
something at
did.
that time.
You did.
To help.
I think you shared one of my videos, which I didn't expect, and then Wade Boggs did his VR challenge where he said
Yeah,
shout out some small channels, and I was one of those also. So you hit me with the double whammy. And like you said, you get a couple channels behind you. It's amazing how supportive the community is. It really is. It's really cool.
yeah, it's really cool. So that's why, I'm just a guy showing my collection and going to card shows and card shops. You
Yeah.
know, I don't even edit my videos and stuff. So I never really imagined. I mean, I'm not doing this for the subs or anything. I'm just doing it for the fun and for
Right.
really to see my collection. There was a time that some of my videos only got 20 views, and it was me watching them most of the time, just to watch the cards again. So that's the way I really started. But thank God
Yeah.
for this community and everybody that's been so supportive. And to me, it's just been a miracle that I'm at this point, 1,000 subscribers. I never even thought about that,
Yeah.
and it happened on Christmas Day.
I,
So that was the neatest thing of it all. My
that's
1,000 subscribers on Christmas Day.
that's was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, talking a little bit about your channel. Did you come up with the name of Collector's Dream? Did somebody else? Where did you come up with the name?
Actually, a collector's dream was the name of my business back when I was a
Oh,
dealer. And
okay.
in one of my videos where I showed my first collection, I actually showed my business card that said a collector's dream. It wasn't the same logo, but it was
Okay,
that. So that was the name that I had when I started doing shows, doing
gotcha.
local mall shows and doing different shows as a dealer. You had to have a business card, you had to have a name. And the reason I came up with that is just, you know, I'm a collector, and I had a dream at that time to have a certain collection that I
Right.
wanted, to, and that was just my dream. So I did it like a collector's dream. It was just one of those names, kind of. It was my dream to have a dream collection, and
Right.
that was pretty much how I came up with it. And I ran it by my wife, and she's like, "Wow, that's a great name!" And right away, we went ahead and got the business cards done, and
That's
the
awesome.
little, so that's how we got it started. And then, of course, when I stopped doing the shows and stuff like that, and then when
Yeah,
I did YouTube again, I said, I'm going to revive the name and come. So I did
that's
a
awesome.
collector's dream, which was my old business name.
Yeah, I mean it's a sick name for a channel. I really like it, and I think when you started getting the mat in your videos, did somebody give you that mat as a present, or where did you buy it from? Because it's really sweet. It really helps
I
the videos good too.
Yeah, I bought it from a place called My Playmat,
Okay.
and just I talked to my daughter because she's in marketing and she does all this kind of stuff for businesses. She also did my business cards and all that with the little code that you scan and stuff.
Yeah.
And she said, "No, just go ahead and order online." So I went online. It was like 20 something bucks, and
Wow.
I just send them my logo, and they did a nice mat. And you see it, you see it. It's a beautiful little mat. You can pick whatever size you want too. So it's just one of those things. I said, I got to do something. I was doing all my videos with the CSG mats,
Right. Yeah.
because I went to the CSG grading school, and they gave you a little kit, and they gave you a mat and magnifying glass and all that stuff they gave you. So
Um, yeah, you went to that school. Did you just go just so you could, as a dealer, you could be able to look at a raw card and figure out the grade, or were you actually going to work for them?
um, this was 2 years ago, and I really wasn't thinking about working for them at the time. But I
Okay.
really was interested in the company because they have a lot of backing. It's it's a huge company,
Yeah.
and they offered this class free to just go over there, but they limited to, I think it was 100 people.
Okay.
And so I went ahead and I applied there. They asked, do you want to work with us and all that? And I said, maybe, you know, at that point, because
Right.
I'm 3 hours away from where they are, their
Oh,
main
wow.
office over there in Sarasota. Yeah.
Wow.
So I figured, you know what? I'm going to drive up there, and rent the hotel overnight, take the family, a little thing out there. So it was a 2-day thing. And I went out there. And at the end, the second day, they give you a test. So they
Okay.
give you 10 cards for you to grade.
That'd be
And they
fun.
tell you there's one of them in there that's altered or trimmed or colored or something like that.
Okay.
And then the rest of them, there may be two, but you
Uh,
have to, So anyway, I went through and they give you 30 minutes to grade that.
okay.
Normally, they say that it's about a minute per card is what they do to look at the card to grade it. So they gave you
Crazy.
30. It's crazy,
You
that's why,
you
after
you could
that.
you could spend $5,000 on that card, and they took a minute to figure out what it was. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like it's just like you like I understand though
yeah.
they have a business and they got to get cards done and stuff like that. But it is crazy to think about. So how did you do on the test?
Well, at the end, they picked the top 3 people and they gave them some prizes. And I said, hey, okay, fine. And they said, well, we're going to get back to the people who did, the best score on the test. And yeah, they got back to me. They sent me an email. They offered me a job. They wanted me to go over there for the interview and the whole thing. And so
Wow.
obviously, I did pretty good. They didn't tell me the score, but they said that yeah, I was one of the top ones there.
Wow.
So it was great. But they were going to pay it's about $50,000 a year, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad, but I had just retired. I'm not going to really. I'd have to unretire, forget all my Social Security, and get back to work. And I figured this is not the time to do that. And I got a 93-year-old mother, so it was not the time to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you had so much experience in the car world up to that point. Did you actually see anything or hear anything as far as being inside that grading company
Yeah,
that you didn't know? Like, was there any real big takeaways where it was like, wow, I never thought they look at that or
I think the big takeaway is that how they look at trimmed and cars like that, and it was great because I got to meet Andy Broom, who's the main grader there, the number one guy, and he was the head grader at Beckett for I don't know, like 15, 20 years, and
okay,
they had some of the other graders there, and you could tell that the graders that they have there are qualified graders, at least the ones that they presented at the show there,
right,
at the school. So you could see that they know what they're doing. And it was just one of those things. It was great to go talk to them. I talked to Andy Broom, the head grader there. I showed him pictures of my 52 Mano, that supposedly was altered and stuff like that. And
right.
so we
Well,
talked a little bit about that, and we talked cards with him, and that was one of the best things I think I got out of it. Just talking to the graders and asking them, and he had graded a Honus Wagner card, and stuff
wow,
like that, and it was just so interesting to talk to people who had seen so many, cards like Babe Ruth and Honus Wagner, and actually literally graded those cards,
yeah.
So that was, it was great to have one-on-ones with these people, you know.
That is really cool. Sorry about my fire alarms going off, but it is what it is. We're gonna keep it
No
rolling
problem.
here. Um, so I know your daughter is really involved with your channel. Like, just she's probably your biggest fan, I'm sure. Does how does your family? What does your family think about your channel? Does any of them watch your videos? What's their thoughts on it?
Well, at the beginning, like any, I'd say most collectors, we collect by ourselves.
Right,
We really don't have friends and people here, local or neighbors that collect. You know, so I've been collecting for by myself for many, many, many years. My kids, of course, when they were young, they went to the card shows and we collected together and all that. So they knew my collection, but they're really not into it like me. My wife, she's not into it either.
Right.
All she wants to know is what's that card worth and that type of thing. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that, pretty much they don't know anything about. They don't even know how rare some of my cards are, things like that. But my daughter did know. She's my oldest, my daughter, and
Yeah.
she was the one that she still actually collects some cards. She collects some of the singers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Madonna cards and those type of the original old ones and stuff. But anyway,
Okay.
she knew that I had a great collection, and when COVID came, and my dad passed away last year, and I was just one of those down times, and really never since the COVID was here, I couldn't really pull my cards out of the safe deposit box. And then when I finally did, and I got a chance to look at them, and I was so excited, and it's just one of those things that I talked to my friends. I had a good friend that had breast cancer, and she was so positive and so upbeat, and I was so down, and because
Yeah.
of my dad passing away, and I had another friend that passed away last year also of breast cancer. So it was a depressing time for me at that time, and it was one of those things that I got inspired. Um, this girl's got cancer and she's so positive. I'm down doing nothing basically. I'm retired, trying to take care
Right.
of my mom, not doing anything with my life, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Right.
And I pulled my cards out, and said, you got to do something with that. That's your passion. That's your hobby. That's what you love to do, and do something that you love to do. And I decided I'm gonna, you know, I was always watching YouTube, watching all these guys, Silver Jackify and New York Yanks and Vince and Baseball Collector and all these guys. You would always watch them, and they showed us these collections, and
Right.
and all that stuff, and just motivated me to say, hey, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could do something like that. So
Were
I
you?
talked to my daughter about it because I
Yeah.
didn't know how to set anything up, and she said, yeah, you should do it. So when I pulled all my cards out of my collection and started looking at it and just talked about them and started telling her and my family what I had and all that stuff, because I mean I retired now. Basically heading to my late 60s at this point,
Yeah.
and somebody's gonna know what I've got. This stuff is in. Nobody really knows my
Yeah.
collection except
Yeah.
me. You know what
Right.
I mean? That's the way it is, unfortunately, but that's the way it is for many people.
Yeah.
So um, I told my daughter. My daughter says you got to show your collection. You got to do something with it. So on in January, on New Year's Day, she surprised me with, look, I set you up this January. I set you up with a YouTube channel. You're all set to go. All you got to do is start putting videos up there.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
how to put videos? Me videos? Come on. I don't know. I don't even know how to edit any videos or do anything with videos.
Right.
So she said, I'm going to set up your first video, the first couple of videos. I'm going to help you do it. And then from then on, Dad, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Set up, got me a little tripod, which is what I'm using today. And I started doing my videos. And she helped me along the way and gave me some pointers. And it just I just like to show my cards, show my collection, talk about the history of the cards.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to know. People don't know who Cap Anson was, or who King Kelly is, or who even Tris Speaker. I mean, these are incredible players that nobody's ever heard of. And
Right.
I'm thinking, I got to share, and that's what I try to do,
That's
and
really
hopefully
cool.
get new people into the vintage,
I
like I
think
like.
your story is really inspiring, and I think like you're saying, I think somebody else maybe out there will hear your story and do similar to you and not be intimidated by technology, and make that leap out there and show everybody what they have and share it. I think that's a really cool story. And your channel, you pretty much put out a video every other day. I, I put out two a week, and sometimes I get antsy because I'll have an idea and I'm like I just want to shoot it and put it out there, but I don't want to. I want to spread out my stories a little bit as best as I can. But you just did you ever expect you already made 125 videos? Did you expect when you started that you would be making a video every other day and you would have this much content to put out there?
Well, you got to remember that I would say probably 40 of those videos are from the National. And I literally walked and saw every single table at the National at least twice.
Wow.
And I went and I videotaped. So I did anywhere from 2 minutes to 10-minute clips
Okay.
of people's table at the National. And let me tell you, that got a lot of views too. That helped me a lot because the first day of the National, um, I went and I did some videotaping of silver tables. But one of the videos that I did was I went and I videotaped the D-backs collection. The Diamondbacks owner,
Okay.
he
Yeah,
has one of the best collections in the world,
I heard
and I
that.
knew that he was going to display that collection there, and I wanted to see it because not only was the 9.5 mantle there, but this guy's it's Ken Kendricks. Ken Kendricks Gem Mint 10 mantle was there, and I
Wow.
wanted to see that one because they said that one was the best mantle. So
Wow.
I went there and I videotaped the Ken Kendricks collection there. It was about an 8-minute video, and I think today it's gotten over 3,500 views.
Wow. So
So for me, and the first day I put it on there, I think the next day I checked it and it had 1,000 views. I had never gotten a video with 1,000 views before.
and that's not even that
So
wasn't a short, that was a video, correct?
it was a video. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
video. I didn't even know how to do shorts at that time. I just was doing videos.
Yeah, shorts are very weird. I'm still learning. Like I do all my trick shots on shorts, and it's strange. You'll get all your views in the first 2 hours, and it's a whole different audience.
Yeah.
So like I try not to put anything card related on there because it's literally, some people
Yeah.
I feel like don't even look when you have a short when it's the card community. So
No,
it's
you're right. You're right. Because it's just, but I did put in there when I saw the 9.5 Topps mantle, the one that was for sale there that sold for 12.6 million, I did take a real close up look at that. I went right up to the case
yeah.
and I did about a 50-second view of it with close up and the whole thing. And that's the first short I've ever put in. Really, that's I only have two shorts. That's one of them. And you're right; it doesn't get many views, but I
Yeah.
figured I'd put that up there so people can get a good look at that the most expensive card in the world.
You must, if you put up like 40 videos from Nashville, you must have literally had your phone on the whole time just filming videos. Is that pretty much all you did the whole time? Jeez.
No, I mean I spent time with a lot of the people there. I mean
Yeah.
I was there with Jake Legends Never Die, so I walked with him there a little while, and
Oh,
I
that's good.
met a whole bunch of other guys there. But you're right. For the most part, I was by myself, walking the show and videotaping the top vintage tables and
Wow.
the top auction sites. So I videotaped the REA auction at the time because they had some early 1800s. They had the first baseball card ever produced, the Cincinnati Redlegs card from I think it's 1869.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to videotape that. I videotaped a couple other of the Golden. Golden had a lot of stuff there for auction. They had the triple logo man at the time there, so I videotaped that, and just some of the best stuff that I could find at the
Well,
National.
and
I
and that,
videotaped it.
yeah, and by no means is it by no means is it a slight. You sacrificed your time at the National to put together videos for people who couldn't be there. And I think that says
Yeah,
a lot about you. You could have shot two videos and talked to dealers the whole time if you wanted to, and you instead you gave people a look. I couldn't be there. That was one of the ways I could see what it was like there is watching videos like yours. And that meant a lot to the community. I feel like so that's cool that after you did all those videos that people you gained a lot of people interested. That's really cool. So
yeah. It's I try to film things that I would like to see,
yeah,
And I thought, if I weren't here, and I had been to another national, but I hadn't been to national in many years. And I said, you know what, this is a once in a lifetime for some people,
yeah.
and there's some people that don't get to go. And I want to go back and I want to see. I mean, maybe 2 years from now, I want to go back and see what the prices were on those cards that I saw back in in
Yeah,
that Atlantic City National. So
that's
it was
true.
just an interesting thing
Yeah,
for me. I felt it was a good thing. And in my videos, I want people, I, people that see my videos have never seen my face because I've never shown my face in my videos. Because really, I want people to see things through my eyes. What I'm looking at as a collector. When I'm
right.
looking at my cards, I kind of am talking to myself, you know, as I'm looking at the cards, and sometimes I ramble a little bit, but it's just me. It's me looking at cards,
Right.
and hopefully, it's like if you were a friend of mine next to me, looking at the cards with me, and
Right.
that's what I want to do in my channel. It's just kind of put you right next to me, sitting with me, watching my cards, and listen to me talking about my cards. I guess that seeing it through my eyes.
Yeah, that's cool perspective to think about. I've never really thought like, oh, okay, that this is my point of view, but it is pretty cool to think that way. And I do feel like I'm with you when you're looking at your cards. I think it's cool, and like you said, the fact that you don't do any editing, it's real life. This is what I think at the moment, and I think that's really cool that you don't edit. I think it's awesome.
And Theo, and that's why I could do 125 videos too, because I have to go back and spend time doing any editing and stuff. But that's
That
got to take time.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking about how you started a series this year where you went to some card shops, you went to some shows, um, and like you're saying, like when you get to a show, you literally walk the whole show floor and show us the highlights before you even shop or you talk to dealers or whatever. And I think I went to my first card show this year and I tried to do some footage and a couple dealers are like, what are you videotaping my stuff for? And like I had to like, hey, like I have a YouTube channel and I just, I'm trying to show people what the show looks like. And do you ever run into a situation where like somebody's like, I prefer you not to show my cards, or you're so nice of a
Yeah,
person people can't
yeah,
people just
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. But I got to tell you, I'm proud of you because I remember before you did that show, you kind of sent me a little comment saying, "Listen, I'm gonna get ready to do my first
Yeah,
show. I'm gonna videotape it and this and that." And you asked me for a little bit of suggestions, I recall.
yeah.
And you did great, except you put the phone vertically instead of
I know.
horizontally.
I I know. I know. I made the rookie mistake of going to vertical phone. I know.
Yeah. But
And
anyway, you did
have you
great.
yeah, have you had
Yes.
somebody tell you you can't videotape my stuff?
Yeah, I've had a few people tell me that. A lot of what I do is I have my card with me all the time.
Right.
So in one hand I got the phone, the other one I got my card. And sometimes you'll hear me say, I got my YouTube channel here, and I'll give them my card, and usually I'll just flash the card, and a lot of guys will see that and they'll understand. But yeah, I've had people that told me no, don't do it. And
Mhm.
I just kind of stay away from that and
Yeah.
just walk away. But it's very, very rare. Most people are okay, because of course I always tell them, let me have one of your cards, and I'll show them your card on screen so they could see this is your setup, and here it is. Contact this guy, you know.
Yeah.
So hey, it helps them. And I actually had a dealer that told me that because I go to pretty much just one of the shows I go to. I go every month, and
Yeah.
I had one dealer that told me that, hey, somebody called me and is interested in the card I had, at the show.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it may have been from me,
That's cool.
so,
That's awesome.
but there's a few dealers I know there already. So I talk to them all the time. And generally what I do is I'll walk the floor one time of the show to
Mhm.
see kind of what's there. And then I'll start filming, and I'll just film nonstop, all the tables. And then and then I'm done, and then I go back and I'll talk to the dealers, especially the ones that are pissed off like that. If I do get one like that, I
Okay.
will go back and I will apologize and stuff like that and tell them I'm sorry, and and then I explain to them that I videotaped this show before, and it's really to promote the show, to bring people to the
For
show.
for sure.
That's what I'm here for,
For
you know.
sure. I
And
yeah,
I
I
al-
I
and I
never
also
understood.
tell them Theo, that I know the owner who does the show,
Yeah.
so because they know me, they give me permission to come in. The first thing I do is I ask the promoters, listen, I'm going to videotape. Is it okay if I do that?
That's
You
really cool.
know. So anyway,
Yeah, I never really. I never saw why people get bent out of shape about it until I started trying to film for myself. But I'm like I can see the prices here. It's not like it's not public knowledge of what you're charging for your card. So I never saw why people got bent out of shape about it. But it is interesting to hear about your experience. So how long were you a car? How long were you a dealer for?
Uh, Probably for about I would say 8, 10 years maybe.
Okay,
You
and
know, right
did you,
before the junk. Well, I won't call it junk wax. The
high pop era.
yeah, the high pop times. So the late '80s, the early '90s, all of that area, and all that time, and then I kind of got out in the you know after the junk wax. I mean
High
the
pop era.
whatever you want to call it era. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
You gotta be
a lot
careful
of
what we say.
yeah, a lot of card dealers got out, just like what's happening now. Kind of. You know,
Yeah,
things are overprinting, but right now, so a lot of the people that came in the hobby have been in maybe a couple of years. They may be going out. Like Brad, the comeback card collector guy.
yeah.
So that happens, and that happened back then. So then I kind of got out of it, got out of the dealing part, but I had accumulated a nice collection at the time from being at shows and buying at shows and stuff like that. So then that's when I really started to cultivate my collection and
Okay.
start selling off and buying stuff and really getting
Kind of
a
kind of
yeah.
like, okay, I made profits, spend the profits on cards. Kind of like that cycle, right? Where you're selling and you're using the profits for your own collection, basically.
Yeah, well, the good thing about the shows was that I'd go and I'd maybe at that time maybe sell $1,000 worth of cards, but I'd end up buying $700 worth of cards and from collections and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So because
That's
I
fun.
always had to show some profit because my wife was like, "Man, you went and we only made $300." Well, it's $300 in one day.
That's so funny
But
because I
but
talked to a dealer in Pittsburgh, and just like you said, I was chatting him up, and he said I'm really a collector at heart. He goes, as long as I make a profit when I get home, my wife's fine with me doing it. So he's like, same thing you're saying. It's like as
that's the
long
way it works.
as
That's the way it is. But in the meantime, I'm able to gather up a nice collection, and then I start, really focusing on what I want. I was basically at first a set builder because that's how I started when I was a kid.
yeah,
And you build sets and you build sets. So I built a lot of sets, during that time. And when I
nice.
would go to those card shows to sell, I'd also walk the tables with my want list and go over, do you have any, 59s? Do you have any, whatever 56s, and try to build sets. So
Nice.
I did that, for many years. Then I started really focusing a little bit more about on player collecting
Hmm.
and really with Mickey Mantle. He
Yeah,
was my favorite, player at that time, and so I started with Mickey Mantle cards back then. And
nice.
this was even before grading even existed.
Right.
There were no grading at all at that time. I
So
had cards like this. This card I bought raw and graded it.
wow. And
Had it graded
would you get, a
myself,
six
a
or
6.
nice? Wow.
I had
Um,
that graded myself, and you could tell because look at, and these are old slabs. And here's another one that I got graded back in the old. This was my first, what I call vintage card, because vintage, basically, from the 50s and 60s were vintage, but I never had a card from the 40s. So then I got this card raw also
wow.
and got that graded. And
Wow.
you could see, can you see the slab numbers on those?
Yeah, they start with 0.
Check out the numbers.
Oh, they were sequential.
Sequential numbers. I send
Yeah.
these cards at the same time, one after the other, raw. With most of my Mickey Mantles at that time, I went ahead and sent all my Mickey Mantles in to get graded, and that's where I started my Mantle run. And then I put
How,
them on the PSA registry, and it went
I,
from there.
I can't imagine getting those Mickey Mantles back. That must have been the greatest PSA return of your life.
I
I
wish
couldn't
I could have
imagine.
videotaped that for YouTube, boy. That would have been
Oh
an
my
awesome
gosh, you
thing.
would have 5,000 views at least. Like
Yeah.
that, I know some of your biggest watches are your SGC returns, and I think a lot of people love those type of videos. But back to being a dealer. So I'm still really new. I bought 99, maybe 98% of my cards on eBay. You gave me some advice back then, but I would love just for the card community out there to hear, like, as a dealer, what do you think the best strategy is as for somebody buying? They walk up to a table and they see a card they're interested in, might not know the price off the top of their head because it wasn't something they were looking for. What do you think the best strategy is to get a good price from a dealer?
Well, I think first of all, you got to kind of know what you're looking for when you go to a show.
Okay.
You may not know the specific card, but I always try to. I mean, when I go in to a show, I usually have a list of what I'm looking for, or sometimes you come up with something that you got to buy. It's rare or you never seen before. But when you go up to dealers, usually if I like something in their display, I
Yeah.
always start off with complimenting them. You know, that's those are nice. You got some nice cards in there, and then I usually will, because I mean I don't want to focus on. There's probably that one card I really want, but he may have two or three other cards that I'm interested in. So
Okay.
at that time, what I usually do is, I'll ask him, those are nice. This one's here. Those are pretty nice cars. And I ask him, uh, you know, if he's got any room, based on the pricing. Do you have any room on those cars to work with, you know,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
before cash, and see what they say,
Yeah.
and if they say they got some room, then okay, then I'll ask them to take them out of the display case. I said, let me see these three.
Okay.
I'll pick up the three because
Okay.
I may only want one, but hey, you never know. You maybe could do a deal, or you know, I don't want them to think that I really need that card right there.
That's
So
that's a
I'll pull out.
that's interesting. Okay.
So I'll go look at the three cards and I'll look at them. Of course, I'll look at them real carefully, and I have kind of an idea. If I need to, um, you know, look at comps, I will, but I hate to do that when I'm right there ready to make a purchase.
Yeah.
Probably if if I don't know and I'm not sure, what I'll do is I'll thank the dealer. I'll tell him I'm going to look around a little bit, but I'll probably be back. You know,
And then you'll
and
go do your research, kind of.
then I'll go to a corner, do my research, do everything I got to do, and then come back, or maybe walk a little bit, see if anybody else has something like that
Okay.
card, see what they're doing, and then eventually, if that's the best one that I saw, I'll come back and try to work a deal with him. See if he's got any room on that. Ask him a little bit about with that card. I mean, the new card you ask, did you pull that card? Because they pulled it, they don't have much into it. Or how'd you get that card? Is that from your collection? Or you know, and they usually kind of say, no, I bought that in a collection a few years ago, or it's from my personal collection. So
So,
that way you kind of get a feel for it, because if it's from his personal collection, he may not have a lot into it. He may have had it for a long time. Maybe you
okay.
could negotiate a little more, or it kind of will give you a feel for the history of the card, first of all, which I'm always interested in.
Right.
They may say, "Hey, I got that from the original guy that pulled that card back in 1967." He pulled
Mhm.
that card from a pack, and I got it from him. You know,
That's
I,
pretty cool. Yeah.
I'd be more interested in that now. So he won't know. He may not realize that, but at that point, then you just kind of talk price, and then you go down to what's the best you can do on that, and talk about the comps if you need to. And from then on, it's just a matter. I always tell them, look, cash, and if I've got to flex a little bit, let's say if he won't budge too much, then I'll say, hey, I offered cash, but can I do cash and half PayPal or something?
Okay.
So because maybe I don't want to put all my cash out at that point,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So
Do you ever do the trick where you put the cash on or you'll pull that card out?
no, I think once you say cash, if you tell a dealer you got cash, it's a cash deal. They're willing more
Yeah.
willing
Yeah.
to work with you that way. So I don't, I
Yeah.
don't. It's just
Yeah.
look, the main thing I
It's
think, Theo, is when you're dealing with a
yeah.
dealer is talk to the
Yeah.
dealer, get to know them a little bit,
Mhm.
get to know what he collects and a little bit about his style. Talk to him. If you talk to somebody for a few minutes, you kind of get a feel for the guy. Is this guy going to be a jerk, or is he going to be a nice
Right.
guy? And
Yeah.
usually you can work for. And a lot of times also, if there's looking at the dealer's perspective, if somebody comes up to me and says, "Listen, that card is for my PC. I PC that guy," I'm willing to work with him more than
Yeah.
somebody that I know is a flipper that's going to flip that card. You know what I mean? So for
Yeah.
that point, I may
Yeah.
work with that collector, or if it's a young kid, I'll work with the kid even more. To give him a better deal, so he stays in the hobby and works with it, and so that's kind of my theory as a dealer, and if you were to buy from me or to buy from another dealer, that type thing.
That is cool because I kind of now that I'm thinking about it and you're saying it, like the best deal I made at the card show, the guy had a Daily Juice Clemente card that normally sells on eBay for like $15 to $20, and he had it for 10. And I told him how I collect Clemente. He started telling me what he collects. I started looking at his Dick Groat cards too. There, I can pull mine out too. That he
I,
That's a beautiful card. That's I
but I
know
can tell you, I
yours is
pulled
a
this one
box.
from a I pulled that from a pack myself.
Yes, you did.
I sure did. I
I
pulled it
wasn't
from a
alive.
pack.
I can't help it.
I,
Um,
I I bought this at Budget Drugs back in 1970 in
that's
Miami. That's
that's
what I tell you.
sick. That's sick. And he ended up he gave me the Daily Juice card for $5. I got it in here.
Yeah,
It ended up grading a 7. A hand cut card.
nice.
Here it is. I love this card.
Oh, that's beautiful card. I love that.
$5. $5.
You see,
And like I said, I if I bought it on eBay, I bet you would have came with a crease or wrinkle. Even though you got to be careful. So it made the trip worth it just even getting
yeah,
that card for me.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. You know what? Your collection is so it's not just unique, it's rare. And you're like you said, you're always talking about your favorite set, the Goodwin Champion set. And you have a couple cards that are like I call them one-on-ones. They literally are the highest card on PSA for that card. So that's why I
Yeah.
call them a one-on-one. How how would somebody obtain such a rare card? Like it's like I figured that would be like you said, that would be with the owner of a sports team somewhere. Like how did Orlando obtain such a crazy card?
It's it's a it's a it's a long story. I've been during the time that I was a dealer, somebody sold me about 20 of those Goodwin Champion cards.
Wow.
And this was back in the, I think it was around, I would say 89, 90, somewhere around that time. You're talking now 30 something years ago.
Yeah.
And I loved them. I kept them. Those were one of the cards that I never sold. I kept them in my collection, because a lot of the stuff I get, I display and resell again. But this stuff, I loved it. And I've never seen those cards before then, So anything like that, I kept it. And I finally decided I was going to go ahead and when I graded my mantles and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and grade some of these cards. They were so nice, such good condition, and
Yeah.
I graded them, and some of them came out pretty nice grades. In the mid, nothing, no sevens or anything like that, but they were pretty high grades for that series. I think I did get one that was graded a 7 off centered,
Wow.
and the other ones were graded around 3, 4, and 5, which is high grade for the Goodwin Champion. So
Right.
I had said, heck, this is a beautiful set. I'm going to start, picking these up, little by little. I started picking them up. And one of, I picked up one of the most iconic cards, not in just in those days. It's just an iconic card in all of the history of baseball cards. And that's this Cap Anson.
Uh-huh. Beautiful.
This is, it goes right up there with the 52 Manals. It's the most iconic card from the 1800s.
Wow.
So I picked one of these up that was in a 1 and it had paper loss and stuff on it and all that. And, but hey, I had it and I was real happy with it. And, and at one point I kind of almost finished the set, but a lot of the cards were very low grade. So I started looking for the higher grade, and those you got them at auctions, and you got some on eBay, but very rarely. Most of them you got them on auction, and I would kind of watch the auctions, maybe get one or two at a time. but and see kind of I know now those cards existed. Like for example, the Isaac Murphy,
Uh-huh.
the jockey in a 7. That's the
Yeah.
highest graded example, and I don't even know if there's any 6s there. Most of them, I had a 3.5, and that was mine, which I thought was a pretty good grade for that card. But I saw
Yeah.
the 7 was sold. It was one of the big time collectors, and I think it was David Hall had that card. He's collected T206s and had a bunch of other stuff, and he
Okay.
ended up selling his collection. And when he sold the collection, I couldn't get that Isaac Murphy, but I did get one of his cards, the Steinich, which was a chess player that graded a 7. So I picked
Wow.
that card up in that auction. It was about at that time it was only like it was like $600-700, something like that.
Right.
Because a lot of people didn't know the set, weren't interested in the set, but that set that was the number one set, and he broke it up. So I
Wow.
kind of tracked the cards, and then the Isaac Murphy went up for sale again in 2017. I couldn't get it. It went over my bids, and then
Wow.
again it went up for sale again this year in a heritage auction, and I was able to spot it, and I got it. And, I
Wow.
said, I'm not going to miss out this time. So I probably overpaid for it, but it's a 101, the only one that exists. And so
Wow.
that way, there was some cards like that I kind of tracked down here or there as best as I could, and just keep an eye out if they ever went up for auction.
It's crazy that it just kept, like you said, you're gonna hold that. Like, it's crazy that people were willing to put that back up for auction. I've never went on any auction sites before, but I don't buy big cards. I would love to, maybe one day when we have more time, you to tell me about the different auction sites and some of your strategies and stuff like that, because I have no experience in auctions. I know nothing about them. I'd be curious, like maybe I'm missing out on some cards that are more in my range. I'm guessing not everything on there are $1,000 cards, right?
No, no, you definitely got to check out the auctions. A lot of those auctions, they have high end, of course, but you
Yeah.
got a lot of the low end stuff too. And I get a lot of mine. The other way that I got my Goodwin champions was uh, a couple of years ago. There was a gentleman when it was, I think, early on COVID, there was a big name collector that passed away, unfortunately. Dr. John Newman.
Okay.
And this guy had, I mean, one of the top collections. He had the only PSA 9 33 Gaudi yellow Ruth. He had
Wow.
the only one in a 9, and that sold for over $4 million.
Wow.
So his collection sold in Memory Lane auction a couple of years ago for about, I think the whole thing, over $20 million.
Wow.
But he had one of the top Goodwin champion set, and they put the cards up for auction. Most of the cards they put them, individually because they were high end. The Cap Anson was graded a 7, and that went for tens of thousands, and all those cards like that.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of 13 cards that were uh, basically they didn't list them individually, but they were graded high. They were graded 6, 7. The highest was a 7.5. Uh,
Wow.
Jack Dempsey, which is he was the middleweight champion, the first middleweight champion of the world back in the 1800s, and other players like that. There was a Buffalo Bill that graded a 4. I bought that whole lot of those. I think it was 12 or 13 cards for like $2,000, $2,500 with the premium, whatever.
Wow. Wow.
And because it was one of those things, people they focus on the big guys. They didn't see that little lot, Goodwin champion lot, but it was a high grade Goodwin champion lot,
Wow.
and a lot of people they didn't realize it. I bought that lot, and I more than made my money because I traded the Buffalo Bill in a 4. I traded. I got about $1,000 in trade for that with Ryan Nolan at Breakout Cards. I traded him that, and I
Wow.
traded him. Yeah, he put me on the video at the National at trade night.
That's cool.
Me
I
and
have to
him.
watch.
If you look at Ryan Nolan's trade
Yeah.
night video,
I
I'm
do
there.
know. I I'm subscribed to him, but I wasn't subscribed to him back then. I'd have to go back and watch that one.
Watch the trade night. I traded him my Isaac Murphy that was like a 3, I think, something like that, and the Buffalo Bill from the John Newman collection, which he appreciated it because I told him where it came from and the history of the
Nice.
card.
I'll watch that. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's how I
Well,
get some deals a lot of times. Go to the auctions and look at the stuff really that you don't get a lot of bids on.
wow, that's cool. I definitely want to get into that now that I'm getting more comfortable and stuff like that. I think that'd be awesome. Well, I like to keep my interviews about 50 minutes. I could probably ask you about 100 more questions, but this is the first time we've talked. We talked on the phone for about 20 minutes. But but Orlando, you definitely somebody I look up to in the hobby. Your collection's one thing, but I just think you're a great guy, and I think
Thank you so
your
much.
sto-
Appreciate it.
no problem, and your stories are terrific. That's honestly your cards are extremely rare, and I think that's what brings some people to your channel. But I think what keeps them staying on your channel is your stories, and the person you are. So I really appreciate you taking time out today. You only charged me $1 an hour, which is not too bad. I'm just messing. um, a,
Just
sig-
hit the like button, like they say in the thing.
a signature in my new series is I like to ask 10 questions and give them a minute to answer. Did you up for the challenge?
I'm up for the challenge, any challenge.
All right. Well, keep your answer short. All right. I got 10 questions here. I'll start the clock after I read the first question. All right.
Okay.
All right. What is your favorite 1960s top set?
1962.
Okay. What's your favorite sports team to watch?
Favorite sports?
Team to watch.
It's the Marlins.
All right. Walmart or Target?
Walmart.
Other than Mantle, favorite player to collect?
Brooks Robinson.
Favorite holiday?
It's got to be Christmas.
Favorite player you have met?
Brooks Robinson.
Best Bowman set?
The 1953 Bowman Color.
Favorite musician?
That's Santana.
Brady or
That's a tough
MJ for GOAT?
Oh, I got to go with MJ.
Yeah, there you go. Best YouTuber named Theo.
It's got to be the Clemente Collector, the one and only Clemente Collector. That's it. It's got to be. It's got to be Clemente all day, every day.
I'm gonna snip that. I'm gonna snip that, and I'm gonna make a short video. Oh man.
I got my Clemente card ready for you.
I know. Hey, I like that Kellogg's card. It's a lot better than mine. Yeah, mine's got a whole bunch of cracks in it.
Yeah, I had that one graded from. I guess I had that from years ago. I just had it graded a few months ago.
Oh, nice. I thought you were gonna say you ate the cereal that box had.
No, I wish. Well, I did pull some from the cereal. I don't remember what they were though at this point.
I bet you money if I was a kid back then, I bet you I would have overlooked those cards. I would have said those are cereal box cards. Nobody's gonna care about those. But who knows?
I do remember though when my mom, I used to tell her to get the boxes because they had the cards in there.
Yeah.
And as soon as she would bring them, I would open up that whole box and stick my hand in. She's like, "Don't get your hand out of the cereal box." I said, "But they got the card in there."
Yeah.
And she would say, "No, you got to get it. Like, you can't stick your hand in there."
That's funny. Yeah, because back in the day, like you're saying, like when I was a kid, it was a toy. They would be in the actual cereal, and you'd have to go in the cereal
and dig in there to get it.
Yeah, it's funny. They don't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
I wish we had some more time, but we'll have to do this again, Orlando. I really thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Theo. Really appreciate it very, very much.
All right. Hey, keep making that great content, man, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I will. Take care. Have a good day.